Should you buy silver in large or small sizes? This is one of the most common questions that people ask when they're thinking about investing in silver. And there are two modes when it comes to buying and selling silver. You can work with small objects and then sell them as you go, or you can buy huge amounts of the precious metal in one piece and then sell it all at one time. Both of these models have their pros and cons, and it's mostly your own personal preference that matters when making that decision. Generally speaking, it's easier to sell small items that are made of silver. There are people who have some money to invest in it, but they might not have enough to buy a big chunk of silver. If you have small pieces of silver, it's going to be easier for you to turn them into cash faster. At the same time, major amounts of silver in one piece are usually cheaper per ounce than the smaller ones, which means you've got to be able to spend more on the precious metal and make more money with it in the long term. Also, to even turn this into cash, you're going to have to look for investment companies that deal in precious metals, which may not be very easy for you to do. At the same time, if you're in the market and you know what's going on, you probably know where to go to buy and where to sell your silver. It might be necessary for you to do some research before you make that decision, but when you get the silver bug, whether you have a big amount of silver, no matter if it's all in one piece or in many little different pieces, you'll have some knowledge about the market because it'll become your life. Trading silver will become something that you'll do every day, and you'll want to know what's going on and where to go to buy and sell. Now, let's consider some specific pros and cons when it comes to dealing with both large pieces of silver and small items. If you buy a large block of silver, you'll actually pay less for it per ounce than if you bought a lot of smaller items. But on the other hand, you have to be prepared to spend a large amount of money, whereas if you're buying smaller pieces of silver, you can spend as much as you can and then buy more later. Of course, if you have a huge chunk of silver, then when you decide to sell it, you can make a lot more profit. In fact, you may be able to get a couple of $1,000,000 for it. The problem is, though, that it won't be available to just about everybody. You'll have to seek out specialist investment companies. On the other hand, selling small items is affordable to pretty much everyone. You can find many clients who will buy a small amount of silver from you, and then you can sell your silver off that way. When you buy large amounts of silver at a discount, your prospective customers would expect a discount when you try and sell it off to them. At the same time, if you decide to sell off your smaller pieces of silver, then you don't have to apply discounts to it. It's going to take longer, but in the end you will receive more cash in your hand. Now, for some people, the amount of effort involved in selling that much silver in small packets is not really justified by the amount of money they make, and that's okay. It really depends on your personal decision. Okay, in the next video, I'm going to compare gold and silver.